Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Two Rivers Tuesday. This is our podcast where we continue the discussion from Sunday's sermon and talk about fun things in the life of our church family. I'm here with John Teague, as always. How are you?
I'm doing well, Maggie. How are yourself?
How are yourself?
How are yourself?
Myself is good.
How are you? That was like I was talking and thinking about something else and talking
different
at the
words
same
came
time.
out.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm good. Hey, last week, last week, Bros and Barbecue.
Yeah, Bros and Barbecue.
Yes, tell us about it.
That was a fun night. Gosh, the food was amazing.
That was the number one thing I heard.
I mean, Rob Ronick is amazing. He is a magician in the kitchen, and the food was incredible. A lot of men there, which was just fun to see, and a lot of guys from our church family invited guys to come with them from, buddies from work or just neighbors, whatever it might be. And that was really fun. I'm super proud of the guys who invited friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's a scary thing, right? To invite someone and then go, I don't know, I hope they like it. I hope they feel welcome. You all of a sudden experience the event in a totally different way, And so I'm really proud of the guys who said, I'm going to do that. And that means like, I'm going to take care of the people that I invite, and I'm going to introduce them to people, and I'm going to sit with them, and I might not bro it out with the guys from my life group because I'm going to be I'm hosting. Mm-hmm. And so again, I just want to say it again, I'm really proud of those guys.
Yeah.
And I think that like the whole staff of Harvest Archery was there, and that was really fun to meet all those guys that work with Doc. And I thought that Steve Delatel getting to talk about traps and setting up traps and setting up a trap outside was so cool, just because it's something he's just so good at. And then Joshua Osborne did a great job just talking about an area of his life that threatened to like really trap him and sink him, which I feel like are two different kinds of metaphors, but you don't really sink something in a trap unless it's a lobster trap or a crab trap.
I was picturing that exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
It sinks and traps.
Yes. Anyway. Oh yeah. Okay. Anyway, Joshua did a great job just sharing his story. I was proud of him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good night.
That's awesome. On Sunday morning, I happened to be standing with Joshua as Doc walked into church. And Doc was just encouraging Joshua on like how great he did sharing his story. But Doc was saying that Friday morning when he went into work, all of those guys that had been there the night before were talking about Joshua's honesty and the power of his story and all of that stuff. So that was just so cool to see like that, those truths continuing in their hearts and minds.
Yeah.
Like that's why Doc invited them to begin with. And so that was sweet to get to witness that.
That's really cool. And all of that was the traps thing was like pointing toward the Sixer, which is, 6 weeks on Wednesday mornings from 6:30 to 7:30 here at the Church Ministry Center. And that's going to kick off March. I think the date is 25th. The 25th.
That's what I had in my mind.
It's I guess it's next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So whatever day we're recording this on now, today's the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Yes, I don't have my green on.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna get pinched.
But yeah, the Sixer is going to talk about some of the common traps that the enemy sets for us as men and how we can avoid those things by being aware of them, but also help one another avoid those things.
Yep. And you don't need to register for the Sixer. You
just show up
that morning, March 25th at 6:30 here at the Ministry Center.
That's right.
Yeah, that'll be great. All right, you ready to talk about Sunday?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, on Sunday we jumped into Ecclesiastes 3, which is a kind of well-known passage. It's that like seasons passage. There's a time for this, a time for that, a time for this, a time for that. And you were explaining to us kind of the tool he's using there is called merism. Okay. And basically what he's doing and accomplishing in the way he wrote that is trying to give you a picture of like the totality of life. Like it's all encompassing. There's a season for everything. And so this passage is meant to give us meant to free us from trying to control our life, because it shows God is in control of all the seasons of your life, not you.
Yes.
And you talked about how this is both freeing and frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take the freeing aspect first.
Yeah.
How is this freeing to us?
Well, it's freeing in the sense that trying to control can bring a lot of anxiety. And when we realize that we have a good God who is in control and is on the throne, and we can trust him, I think that is freeing in and of itself.
Yes.
I think it's also freeing that it's not like the world has conspired against me, you know, or like you've tempted fate, or like you've upset fate, and like there's all this, you know, kind of like just sort of worldly wisdom, you know, those kinds of phrases, right? And you're just thinking like, what have I done to deserve this or something, you know, this season of my life? And it's like, actually, God appoints all these different seasons in our lives, and he has reasons that we sometimes don't understand. That gets to the frustrating part, but the freeing part is that we're not living in some kind of like random or conspiratorial universe.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's very freeing to just embrace and acknowledge the reality that I'm not God. You know, it's like, I think that's like so obvious and duh, but there's so many ways in which I slip into almost thinking I have some of his power or some of his ability to control, or I at least grasp for it. And so it's freeing to just be like, I'm not, and that's a really good thing. It's very freeing to embrace that reality. And so what's the frustrating part?
Well, the frustrating part is we don't see the whole story. We don't always know why, and we want to know why, or we want to know like what's around the corner, and we don't see that. That can be frustrating. I think it can be frustrating because in this particular passage that talks about how God is in control, and all these seasons are appointed, it can be frustrating because there's no answers, and there's really like, there's not a like, hey, if you do these 4 things, you can control the seasons of your life. Right. That can be frustrating.
Yes. Yeah. There's not an equation that we can follow and get the intended results or whatever.
Yeah. Or maybe you're a control freak.
Yes.
And so this would be really frustrating to you. Like, oh yeah, you're telling me like I don't have agency in my life, and, which is not what I said.
Yeah.
In fact, I said the opposite. To a degree, you know, you can go make choices, you know, but God is God, and he is in control.
Yeah. I think you talked about how so many things in our culture and in our life gives us the illusion of control. Like there are so many things that we can customize and control and make happen when we want, how we want.
Yeah.
And so we get really used to that, and we like that feeling. And then to not get to have that experience over some of the things that are biggest or like most important to us is hard. It's like, well, I can control like what I watch on TV so easily and so quickly. I can customize that, but I can't at all when it comes to the season that God has appointed for me right now. I think that's the frustration, is like we get so much control, or we seemingly have so much control in so many other things, and then we don't in some of the big things.
Yeah. Maybe that's why we like just drift toward those small things like that we can control, because it just feels safer. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I think that frustration that can come from not being in control can come out in a couple different things. So that was the question I was going to kind of ask next, is what does that frustration lead to, or what can that frustration look like if totally left unchecked? And so one of them is like hyperfixation. It's like, okay, because I feel this like inner lack of control that only God can appoint my seasons, I don't have control over that, but I do have control over how clean my house is. So I'm going to like hyper fixate on controlling this thing that I can control, because that gives me the security and sense of control that I'm longing for, but know deep down that I don't have. So I think that there's things like that can come up where we're like, okay, what can I control? And we'll just like go in on that. And that can be paralyzing to you and to the people around you when you're controlling.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like another example would be like escapism.
Yes.
You know, if and help me out with this one, but if we find ourselves in a season that we don't like and we don't feel like we can control, we just want to hit the eject button somehow and go find another, like sort of like try to force another season.
Yes.
Is that making sense?
Yeah. I think that discontentment, frustration with your current season can lead to, you trying to escape it by, just like, well, I don't like this, so I'll go find a different life, or I'll spice up my life with either like really bad choices, or you try to maybe seek that same spice is a terrible word for it, but you try to seek that same control or change in maybe like an experience that you can have, or like a trip you can go on, or a show you can watch. It's like you're seeking that change of season through things that aren't truly going to give you what you're looking for.
Gosh, in a really small way, what you're saying, it makes me just think of like, I have done this. I have gone out and I have bought something.
Yes.
Just to like, I think that like like deep down in there somewhere, it was just like I had control over that.
Yes.
Like my world is kind of like in chaos, or there's some things that are making me anxious, but I can click that button and I can grab that
new thing,
mm-hmm. and it kind of gives me that sense of excitement. Like I controlled that.
Yes.
And I controlled and brought good.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I've totally done that.
Yeah. And I think that is like especially tempting, or the main like weakness that can come in the middle life stage. So something we looked at from another church that was super helpful was this idea of stage theory. Mm-hmm. And so this stage theory kind of like helps name phases of your life, and helps name like what you're going to be tempted to do in each of those phases. And so the first one is the beginning. And so this is just like typically in your 20s, when you're like setting the trajectory for your life, you're building your life. It's like there is so much new and excitement and change, and you're starting everything up, and that's a really sweet season of life. But then you get into the middle, which is where a good bit of our church family is, and you've built your life. A lot of it is set, and so now you're tasked with enjoying the life that you've built, being content with the life that you have, mm-hmm. and you kind of
managing the life that has been built.
Yes, managing it, and you have to like put your roots deep down into that life, even though you might be tempted to be like, wait a minute, I want to go back to the new exciting building honeymoon phase, and get a new shirt, or and that's like the light version of it. But sometimes it's like, I think I actually want a new spouse. I want a new church. I want a new city. I want a new job. I want a new, I want new friends. Like there can just be this temptation to be like, I want to go back to that phase of building it all, when really the good and the right call is to like plant yourself deeply in this season that you have and enjoy what you've been given.
So what's the name, like the common name for that?
They talked about it as midlife crisis, but it can, so that's like, I think we all kind of have an idea in our mind of what a midlife crisis would look like.
We sort of imagine like, and well, I'll like say that in my generation probably imagines it was like dad went out and bought a convertible or something, like, and did something like that. It's like, or he went and got a motorcycle. He comes home wearing leather, and you're like, what is dad doing? Like, he's balding and he's got a new leather jacket and a motorcycle. He doesn't even know how to ride it. Like that was kind of like the stereotype, but it's deeper than that, right? Like, or that's pointing to something. It's like you sort of long for the freedom that you had, right? Like in that early stage of life, there was so much freedom. Like you had the world was your oyster, right? It's all in front of you. There's all these dreams, and you've got all kinds of freedom and excitement, and yeah. And,
Yeah.
and you sort of long for that.
Yes, yeah, and because in midlife, like you've tied yourself down, like, right,
Yeah.
like you likely have a lot of things,
You have
a
a
lot
mortgage.
of people that you're responsible for,
Yeah.
and that you're caring for, and so you now have such limited freedom.
Yeah.
But you're growing in like experiential wisdom by
Yeah.
giving your life away. Like you've built this life,
Yeah.
and now you're in it, and you're just so much of it is just pouring out and giving
Yes.
and giving and giving and
Yes.
giving. And there can, if you're not doing that in a healthy way, you can just be like, I'm tired of this. Like,
Yeah.
I want my freedoms back. And so
Yeah.
I just think it's good to ask yourself, like, where am I like longing for that? And where am I like seeking to get that sense of freedom or sense of limitlessness or sense of like newness that might excite me temporarily?
Yeah. And I'm just sitting here thinking, we were kind of joking about the convertible and the motorcycle and the leather jacket, but I've sat with these people in my office, and it's amazing how we might like, haha, midlife crisis. We joke about that, but like it's that's in us.
Yes.
And I just think about some of the conversations I've had, and it's like you just don't think that this is going to happen. And then all of a sudden it happened. And all of a sudden it's like someone has, pushed the eject button, and they're gone. And now they've torn apart the life that they had been building.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of shattered pieces all over the ground, and that doesn't get cleaned up easily.
Yeah.
And usually people there's collateral damage.
Yes.
And I know we know that, but I just bring a little bit of like gravity to this. Like I've sat in that office across the hall here.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that crisis, that midlife crisis, this picture you're painting. And then there's also another version of it, maybe called midlife malaise or midlife apathy, where instead of maybe like, okay, I'm not gonna just leave my family, right? But you might leave them in a sense.
Quit and stay.
Yeah, exactly. Where you just are going through the motions. It's just apathetic, and you've totally withdrawn, even though you may still physically be present. And so I think both of those pictures are pictures of what we don't want. And so what are some of the maybe ways that we can form our soul to prepare our soul for that stage of life, or for that day when we might feel like ejecting?
How do we form our soul? Well, I think that you pointed to the fact that we are pouring out a lot, and there are a lot of people who need our attention and our care, and we are still kind of in that building phase to a certain degree.
Yeah.
When you think about your career and it's still advancing, and your family might still be growing, and they're definitely getting into new phases or seasons of life. There's a lot that's being required of you, and so you must make sure that you are restoring and replenishing all that's being poured out. And so you've got to there's a worldly answer that's like, make some me time, you know? And then there is an element of like that there, you should have some time, right? Like that, where you can like go on send your wife, guys, on a girls trip where she can just go and just sort of have fun with women who are in that same season of life, and they can just laugh and enjoy the weekend, right? Like,
go
guys,
on the women's retreat.
Yeah, go on the women's retreat. Yeah, that's a great call.
Yeah.
Guys, go do that fun thing with the guys. Go on that camping trip, or go, on that golfing trip, or whatever it is. Like, yes, do that, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the going to the Lord, the one who can like strengthen your soul, to strengthen you to be able to continue to do all that he's called you to do.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And this is also where our covenant practices come into play. Like, And those are on our app under the resources tab. You can just click on them and read through like a list of practices that are going to like kind of like shield your soul and restore your soul. And it's the things that we know and we long for, like abiding with Jesus through prayer and time in his word. It's community. It's being really honest and confessing. It's being generous, living a life of, just pouring out. And then it's what we've been talking about the last few weeks. It's rest, right? Like this is where a Sabbath, it also comes into play. Like if you're in that midlife where so much of your life is pouring out and giving and sacrificing and taking care of and being responsible, you need a day to cease from some of that and to quiet your heart and to be restored. And then I think a third thing is gratitude. Like I think the practice of gratitude is what will help us grow in appreciating and receiving our current season as a gift. So like if you're in that midlife where it's like there's a lot of, like I said, responsibility and giving, what can you be really thankful for right now? Like look at where your feet are right in this moment and imagine and thank God for all the good things right now that you have, and grow in gratitude for your season. And that I think protects you from this midlife crisis or midlife malaise that we spoke of.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, and then the third phase of life is the end, where you're kind of winding down and beginning to leave a legacy. And so that is also an important phase of life that you need to receive as your appointed season. And I think the two things to watch out for in that season are despair and cynicism. I think there can be this feeling towards the end of your life where you just are kind of like, well, like my life feels like over in a sense, and you can miss out on all that the Lord has for you still, and all the ways he wants to use you still. It can be this kind of despairing feeling, or there can be a sense of cynicism of like, well, like no one will listen to me, or no one values what I have to offer, or life is just kind of this like negativity about life. And so I think in that season of life, those are the two things to watch out for: cynicism and despair.
So in the first season, you've got all this freedom and no experience, very little wisdom,
Yes.
you know, like, and maybe like, you know, coming out of college, you're like peak knowledge, like, and just low experience, right?
Yeah.
Then you like move into this middle stage of life where a lot of us are, and it's kind of like you don't have much freedom because of the responsibilities you have in your life, that are blessings.
Yes.
But you are gaining a lot of experience. So then you get to this last phase, and you hopefully you have like a little more freedom.
Yes.
And you have the experience. So who are you pouring that into?
Exactly.
Who are you shepherding and encouraging and cheering along, and even coming along, coming alongside and cheering them on, maybe even resourcing them and helping them, with all that you've gained over your life to like help them to flourish.
Yeah. I've heard that this can be like the most impactful season of your life, the most joy-filled season of your life, because you do have the freedom to do it and the experience to back it up. And so like you remember what it was like to be in midlife and to have responsibilities galore, but now like you've gotten on the other side of that, and you know what it's like for Christ to have sustained you through those hard seasons, for Christ to have like worked in your marriage through countless seasons. And so now you get to come alongside other people and offer that wisdom and experience, because you're freed up to do so. So I think that's such a beautiful season of life that we can look forward to. And for those people who are listening that are in that season, like receive that season, enjoy that season, lean into that season. We need you. Yeah.
I just want to brag on some of the folks that are in this season in our church family. I think I see, like a lot of the men who are helping set up our church on Sunday mornings early in the morning, right?
Such a gift.
They're in this, kind of third season of life, and they're working hard and
Yeah.
they're serving us, and I'm so thankful for their willingness to stay in the game.
Yeah.
You know, I think about some of these folks that are in this season that are some of the most encouraging voices in my life. Like that just they understand the value, the worth, the weight of words of encouragement, and just how important those are, and how that's like wind in our sails when everything is kind of hard, you know, and as we're tunning it through this season of life. And gosh, we need them. We need your voice, I would say, if you're watching, listening. We need your voice. We need your hands. We need your wisdom and your experience. We need your encouragement. We need your presence in our lives. Like, our lives are better because you are in it. And I want to just come against everything in any kind of cultural voice that kind of minimizes the older generation. That's just that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a lie.
It is.
Yeah, so I think if you're hearing this and you're in that first or second phase of life, like, ask yourself, who do I have in that third phase? Who is in my life group or in our church family that I can get around and be encouraged by, and ask questions and receive the gift of their experience? Yeah. All right, in closing, I want to talk about Psalm 16 a little bit.
Okay.
So this, I felt like, resonated with me in reference to this sermon, and I love this line. It says, "The Lord is my chosen portion and my cup. You hold my lot.
Yeah.
The lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. Indeed, I have a beautiful inheritance." And so I encourage everybody to go read the whole of Psalm 16 and just soak this in. But I just love this line: "The Lord is my chosen portion and my cup. You hold my lot." And so I just encourage everybody to go to the Lord and, like, thank him for the lot that he has given you. Like, you're in a season, it has been appointed by God for you for right now, and he holds it, and he is good. And the lines, that season, your boundaries, your lines have fallen in pleasant places. It's a beautiful inheritance. And so I just encourage you now to take a moment to be grateful for your season, to be grateful for the Lord of your season, and to lean into receiving it more fully.
That's a good word.
All right, well, that's all I have for us. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll be back next week.
See ya.